Segment 3. We're calling this one more football because we just can't stop talking about football. Cedric, let's go back to more. Let's go back to the NFL again. I was thinking about, as we were talking about Ben Roethlisberger giving way to Mason Rudolph and the Steelers going after Minkah Fitzpatrick from Miami, bringing him in. Miami being a place that we're now seeing players saying pretty openly, I want out. Jalen Ramsey, not in Miami, but he's saying, I want to be traded. Are we seeing some sort of sea change right now in the NFL with guys being more open with these trade requests and saying, I don't want to be here anymore? This is something we've seen from time to time in the NBA. It seems a lot more predominant there, but are we starting to see that in the NFL now?
Yeah, we are. Antonio Brown politicked his way out of Pittsburgh and then stupided his way out of Oakland. And so when you have guys that are not afraid to go public with their concerns, with their complaints, and the one thing that they have now that we didn't have, Jen, back in the day when we got started in this business, there was no social media.
Yeah.
All you would get was maybe mumble something to a reporter, I'd like to get out of here, or through an intermediary would get around that someone's disgruntled. But now you got to do is check their Instagram or check Twitter, and they're out and about, and they don't care what you think. Release me. They'll put that on there. Jalen Ramsey is supposed to play Thursday night. That was after he almost got into a fist fight with the head coach.
Yeah.
And now he wants it known that he wants out. And Jacksonville's like, well, sure, we'll trade you for 2 first-round draft picks. I'm like, wow, 2 first-round draft picks. Boy, the price of complaints has gone way up. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to see guys demanding trades because they can. The CBA is set up where these rookie contracts are 5 years. That's a long time, Jen. They need to make them 3 years. And if a kid wants to try his hand somewhere else, he needs to have more power. MLB and the NBA, those deals are more set up for the players. The NFL is still largely owner-driven, and the players have little to no power. Now, I will say this. They negotiated that collective bargaining agreement, and it was poorly negotiated. They've got to do better. Holdouts, you don't see people holding out in the NBA or the MLB. You know why, Jen? Because they get their money. That's why.
Yeah.
They don't have to hold out.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, the only guys that hold out are non-quarterbacks. The quarterback's going to always get paid. So they got to figure out a way to fix it. It's a PR problem. You got guys acting out. It's a bad look for the league.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is where it's been going for the last 5 years and will continue to go until they change that CBA.
Well, and I got to think that what the NBA you're seeing out of players really being the kingpins of the NBA, that's got to be impacting these NFL players as they look at that and say, I think what you said is exactly right. The NFL is still very much controlled by its owners, by its leadership. And the NBA, while it has good owners, good leadership, its players are leading the way. It's a players' league, and those guys have taken control of it. And we've seen what's happened. Obviously, not every guy in the NBA is being public with trade demands. We see it happen that, for example, here in Oklahoma City with Paul George, he wanted to be traded, but we didn't know it until after he was already traded. So it can be kept secret and be beneficial for the player and for the team, but a lot of times it becomes very adversarial. You see guys making it public. Now in the NFL, it's happening more and more, obviously. So it's going to be really interesting to see when they get back to that bargaining table. How does this change things? Because I got to think the league is not happy about it, but the players want more control. So there's going to have to be some give and take there. We said more football, and let's talk more football, something not related to trade requests, at least not yet. Eli Manning has been benched for Daniel Jones, who Daniel Jones got a lot of talk in the preseason when Baker Mayfield raked him over the coals. But Eli Manning giving way to Daniel Jones now. But I think now we start to think, okay, we're coming to the end of Eli Manning's career, Cedric. And at this point, he's got a couple Super Bowls under his belt, a couple Super Bowl rings. Where is his stock in terms of Hall of Fame, in terms of things that are going to start to happen. The future is not as far away as it once looked. We're going to be talking about these things because Eli Manning's career, we're on the last legs of it. It looks like.
Yeah, he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame. Above average quarterback. He did okay. 116 and 116 as a starter. No one's gonna be gushing about that record, but he did beat the New England Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. So that's going to be his calling card to that yellow jacket, that gold jacket. And he also is Peyton Manning's little brother. That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt. So Eli gets into the Hall of Fame. There are guys in there that have worse numbers than him. I think he had like 340 touchdowns and like 250 interceptions. That's in the neighborhood. I don't have those in front of me, but I know there's a guy. Did you know that there's a guy in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Jen, with 172 touchdowns and 220 interceptions? Did you know that?
I think is it George Blanda?
No, it's Joe Namath.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Joe Namath, who largely got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame because of the guarantee win. He guaranteed over the Baltimore Colts in '68.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that Eli has going for him. 2 Super Bowl rings. He was the face of the franchise for 15 seasons, and he's Peyton Manning's little brother. The Daniel Jones era has started. I know that there's some New York fans that are excited to see if this kid has what it takes. They already have a tremendous young running back in Saquon Barkley. Eli Manning has been a pro's pro.
Yeah.
He's not going to bicker. He's not complaining. He was talking about running scout team the other day. That's the kind of guy you need in the locker room. He will be a mentor to Daniel Jones. Eli has his money. You don't need to be asking for no trade. Where are you going to go? You're 38 years old. So do the Saints want him? I don't think so. They've already thrown their support behind Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill. So if I'm Eli, I ride this out for the next 12 games. And here's the thing, Jen, before I let you finish this. Don't be assuming that Daniel Jones is going to play the rest of the season. That offensive line is horrific. Yeah. He's going to get hurt. Yeah. So we'll see Eli back in the lineup in give me 2 or 3 games. We'll be revisiting that really soon.
Well, it's interesting. You very well could be right. We've seen some bad offensive line play, unfortunately, for some good quarterbacks around the league. But, the thing about Eli Manning, the numbers, people will look at those, Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame. But as much as anything, yes, the 2 Super Bowls are impressive. But when you think about being the quarterback of a football team in New York City, and all of the pressure of the fan base, the attention, the media, the way Eli Manning has been able to handle that, when you think about, scandal, not even of the legal or illegal kind, but just saying something or doing something that, gets him into some hot water. Where has that been? It's been nowhere, Cedric. So to me, this is a guy that, he's handled his business, and win-loss record or completion percentages. I mean, it's going to be good, but to me, to handle it like he's handled it in that market, doesn't that carry some weight too? I have to think that carries some weight ultimately when you think about Hall of Fame and those sorts of things.
Handled his business, class act, represented the organization with class, dignity, professionalism, a likable cat who wasn't on page 6 every other week. He's the guy that you should model future NFL quarterbacks after. If you want an example of how to be a pro and a man and an example to younger players, look no further than Elisha Manning. He is a stud horse on and off the field, great career.
Yeah. And in this era when we see pros not necessarily acting like pros, it seems all the more fitting to talk about that as well. Well, I'd like to say I'll make a promise we won't talk all football next week, but I will make no such promises.
Come on.
It may be all football again, Cedric. Let's I don't want to make any promises I cannot keep.
It's football season.
It is, and it's great, and we'll keep talking about that and so much more on the Writer's Block. So come back next week. We'll see you then.